Look, I've talked about measuring the productivity of a Scrum team several times in the past, but today, let's do something different. Let's read this comment that I got on one of my videos a few weeks back. Agile Coach, our team is trying to tie story points to days of work. They are on a mission to measure productivity. There are a lot of workers we think are lazy. How would you approach measuring productivity? I know the ability to delight customers is important, time to completion is important, and relative complexity of task is important. But should it be all tied to some magical hidden number? Is this measurement simply something that goes out of bounds of the Agile framework? Let's try to answer this question. What if the management, upper management, some managers in the company you work for believe that your Scrum team is lazy? The whole team is lazy. Now, it doesn't matter if the team is lazy or not. The perception, that's key here. They perceive that the team is lazy. What should you do in this situation as a Scrum Master? Let's go back to the comment. The viewer mentioned that Agile is a framework. It's not. It's more of a philosophy. 12 principles, 4 values, the Agile Manifesto. When you read it, the Agile Manifesto, 12 principles, 4 values, there's nothing about story points, estimations. The only thing that remotely relates to productivity in the Agile Manifesto is principle number 7. Working software is the primary measure of progress, not productivity. Progress, but it's closely, I would say, related. If your team is delivering working software, valuable working software frequently to customers, we can say that it's a successful team, right? I'm guessing from your comment that you also use the Scrum framework. What does the latest version of the Scrum Guide 2020 say about productivity, efficiency? Well, it doesn't say much. What's the priority in Scrum? What's the priority of each and every single sprint? The sprint goal. And if your team is able to release, deploy, and increment, a valuable increment that satisfies the product owner and matches the sprint goal, allows the team to achieve also the sprint goal, they can do that every single sprint. I would say that it's a productive and successful Scrum team. Now, let's say that you're doing exactly that, but still, management, upper management, some managers believe that your Scrum team is lazy. Even though they are delivering increments, valuable increments every single sprint, they are lazy. What should you do as a Scrum Master? The number one thing I would do, step 1, don't make assumptions. Ask questions and clarify. Remember, it's a perception. Your team might be lazy or not, but that's not the point. The point is management perceive that the team is lazy. So, number one thing to do as a Scrum Master is ask questions. Lazy based on what? Why do they believe that the team is lazy? Do they have access to some particular metrics that show that the team is lazy? Some incidents that happen? Some deadlines that were missed? Bugs? Defects? Were there unmet expectations? Why do they believe that the team is lazy? That's step number 1 as a Scrum Master. And many Scrum Masters don't do that. They make assumptions. They assume. They don't ask questions to these managers, to upper management. Perception. Extremely important. If you believe that you're not lazy and managers, upper management believe that the team is lazy, there's clearly a problem that is guaranteed to affect the team in a negative way, and you need to fix that. The whole team needs to fix that, but the Scrum Master plays an important role in that. So please have a conversation, honest conversation with these managers and try to figure out why they have this perception. I don't know why managers in your company believe that your Scrum team is lazy, but I can make a guess. It's most probably because of a metric somewhere. Missed deadline, not being able to achieve a sprint goal, or a number of story points in the sprint. There needs to be a metric somewhere, most probably related to a time, a duration, a date, a missed deadline, that's creating this perception of laziness. Now, that's the problem. What do we preach in agility? What do we preach in Scrum? Focusing on the outcome. What's the primary measure of progress? Working software. Not meeting deadlines. Not releasing on time. Not following a plan. Working software. Valuable working software. Your goal as a Scrum Master is to influence people, the team, management, to move from output-driven metrics to value-driven metrics. That's the important part. So maybe that's already the case. Maybe the team is focusing on value, but managers They don't want that. They don't like that. They don't believe a valuable product is more important than meeting the deadline. You might not believe that, they don't believe that, but I guarantee that many people didn't get it yet. But the goal is to produce valuable software. They still believe that we need to follow a plan, that we need to meet some deadlines. Value is not important. Or they're assuming, even worse, they assume that you will meet the deadline and also build a valuable software. In many cases, unrealistic deadlines and still provide value to customers. Even worse. Now, when you tell knowledge workers like developers, not people who do manual work, working in factories, people who do thinking for a living, knowledge workers, when you tell them that they will be evaluated for how long they spend at the office, how much their velocity is increasing every single sprint, they will do exactly that. They are smart people. They will do exactly that. They will stay at the office doing nothing. They will fake the numbers to increase velocity every single sprint. They will meet this unrealistic deadline but writing crappy code and features that customers don't even want. You can have everything. There will be trade-offs, and most probably trade-offs in terms of features, in terms of the quality of the software. The customer will pay for that if the team needs to meet unrealistic deadlines. That's exactly Goodhart's law. When a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. If you measure the team on velocity, they will fake it, especially if you're rewarding them with praises, with bonuses, with money. If they can meet the target, let's say you tell the team that they need to increase their velocity every single sprint by 10%, they will do it. They will fake the numbers. There's always a way to fake the numbers. And because of that, this metric will cease to be a good metric. A good measure. Step number 2, once you know exactly why they believe a team is lazy, you have all the metrics, try to influence them into more value-based metrics instead of output-based metrics. But it's hard to do. And many Scrum Masters, Agile coaches, or the team going to conflict with these managers because it's hard to influence that. It's an issue, a mindset issue. I don't like hiding information. I don't like going against the will of some managers. If I've mentioned that these metrics are wrong, with proof that meeting unrealistic deadlines, hurting the team, hurting customers, that increasing velocity every single sprint, hurting the team, the numbers can be faked, and they still believe, they still want to see the lines of codes written every single sprint, and they want an increase in the lines of codes every single sprint. I've done my part as a Scrum Master. I raised the concern, I raised the risk, and if they still don't understand, it's time to experiment, to fail. To fail, because you already know that increasing velocity every single sprint will cause a lot of issues down the line. Increasing the number of lines of code that you write every single sprint will cause issues down the line. Meeting unrealistic deadlines will cause issues down the line. But you still do it. You experiment with it. And once the experiment is done, which will most probably fail, you show management, I told you so, with the hope that now they change their mind. So that the next experiment, you can do what you wanted to do, focusing more on the value side of things. For me, the right metrics in Scrum: first, working valuable increment being delivered, deployed to customers every single sprint. Second, the sprint goal. In the sprint planning, we are committing on a sprint goal or some sprint goals. Are we able as a team to achieve these sprint goals in the sprint? How often can we do that? These two things are a perfect measure of productivity. Honestly, I've very rarely seen a team that can do these two things every single sprint, releasing something. Value, obviously, you need to show that it's valuable. You need to get the metrics that the customers love this increment. Releasing something, deploying something of value every single sprint to customers, and also meeting their sprint commitments, the sprint goal. If they can do that every single sprint, there's no way that someone in management or some manager somewhere will believe that this team is lazy. So focus on that first. Do these two things. Meet your commitments, release an increment of value every sprint, and your team will be okay. If you want more tips, insights on Agile, Scrum, personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.